Hi, and welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Linda Shea, Division Director for the Frederick County Division of Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. With me is Randy Cooper, and every week on Pet Pals, we showcase animals that are looking for homes through our animal shelter. First dog that we've got this morning is Spartan. Spartan does have a good pending adoption application, but we wanted to showcase him. He is an example of a Whippet mix. He is about 2 years old, and he's also an example of a dog that was adopted out as a younger puppy from our shelter. And per our adoption contract, if you adopt from us and for some reason it doesn't work out, you do have to return that animal to us so we can rehome appropriately with more information than we had initially. So Spartan was turned in. The family dynamics of his adoptive family changed. They had a baby. And according to the owners, he was a little too interested in the newborn, which caused them concern. So one of the things that we try to educate people on that are potentially adopting from us or incorporating a new pet into their family, if your family dynamics changes, you need to be prepared for that. There's no shame in putting a dog in a crate, putting up baby gates to avoid him being near the newborn. It really does come down to, in most circumstances, just management between children and pets. And unfortunately, when you've got a situation and you've got owners that are unwilling to manage the situation or have a concern, the animals do end up being turned into animal shelters. So we try to prevent that. Spartan's got a great temperament, great personality. We do have him color-coded as green. We do color-code our dogs, cats, bunnies, and other animals. So blue would be our lap dogs. Green are the ones that need a little more work, that are a little more enthusiastic about life, that might need some manners training. But according to Spartan's previous owners, he knows how to sit, he knows how to give paw, he knows high five, and of course now being in front of a TV camera, he's a little more interested in the set and surroundings. But there you go, good boy. And there's his high five, so now he's showing off. But it is, quite possible to manage your dogs and your children. It's just a matter of kind of getting creative and then asking professionals for advice. But in the meantime, Spartan is here back at the shelter, so we are hopefully adopting him out soon to another family. This little fellow's name is Subi. He's about 1.5 years old and came to us previously owned. He's got a fairly interesting history. He was acquired from the person that turned him into us off of Craigslist. And she had him for about a week, and she did all the right things. Took him to the vet, got him current on vaccines, including a rabies vaccine. So did all the right things to prepare this dog to be in her home. And what she didn't anticipate, and again, without knowing the very original history of Subi, she has cats in her home. And according to the person that turned Subi in, he was trying to play way too rough with the cats, was pouncing on them, and just created an environment that she was uncomfortable with, especially with a dog without much history to him. So that's how we ended up here. We have, since he's been with us for about a 1.5 weeks or so, we have since neutered him, so he would be a relatively quick adoption. He is already microchipped, and as I said, came into the shelter with a good medical history, a vet exam on board. So all of those things help to make an animal more adoptable than just coming in as a strayer without information. He has a lot of energy. He's about 53 pounds, and a lot of that 53 pounds is muscle. He is a little on the thin side, but he's still growing. He's only about 1.5 years of age, and we've got him down as a pit lab mix, and you can kind of see the yellow lab in there, and then just the energy level of a bully breed. So if you're interested in Subi, the things you need to know is that he's very energetic. He needs to have a little bit more work on his manners, but he's very friendly, very social. It's just going to be a challenge to kind of harness that enthusiasm for life, teach him how to walk nicely on a leash without pulling you down the street, and making sure that you have an environment that would be appropriate for him. If you have small pets, we would probably discourage you from adopting Subi because he does have, I guess, what is more of an interest in cats than most people would be comfortable with. But other than that, he's a great dog available for adoption. And again, this is Subi. This little guy is Tucker. Tucker is, he was turned in by his owner as a chocolate lab. When we look at him, it's always interesting because we see Lab, we also see Chesapeake Bay Retriever, maybe recessively in there with the hazel-colored eyes. But he is about 1.5 years old, and he's about 73 pounds, so he's not small, but pretty much fully grown. And the reason that Tucker was turned in, there was some issues with the other dogs in the family. And one of the things that I really appreciate and like about our facility is that we assess all different aspects of each and every animal that comes in to kind of figure out if they're adoptable and if there's a better placement than just regular adoption for them. Tucker came in, and the bottom line is he came in as a bite case. He had bitten his owner, and a lot of facilities would have written that off as just cut and dry. But when we researched the information, Tucker had been in a family with other dogs, and the owner fed the dogs in one kitchen area. And so during the feeding process, the dogs would get riled up, and in the last incident, the two dogs got into a fight, Tucker being one of them. When the owner went to separate the dogs, the owner got bit and turned in Tucker. So Tucker, again, did arrive as a bite case, but given the circumstances, there's different ways to manage that. When we adopt out pets, we do recommend for at least the first 10 days to feed them in separate areas. Even if you have to feed a dog in a crate, there's no shame in that. You have to kind of assess how they do around food, around people being by their food, and other things that we might not be able to assess here at the shelter. But for Tucker, we've got him available for adoption. We have that information that we will discuss with whomever ends up adopting him, to just be aware. And given his history, we don't consider him food aggressive. We don't consider him dog aggressive. We don't consider him people aggressive. He's just a product of circumstances that are definitely manageable, but you have to have an interest in doing that. So we would recommend feeding him separately. And regardless of whether it's Tucker or any other dogs in your family, if they can't eat side by side harmoniously, you do have to kind of put into place some creative thought on feeding them in different parts of the house. And again, crating is not a bad idea. If you've got dogs that, and if that's the only issue they have, they just can't eat together, that is definitely manageable. But this is Tucker, our lab, chocolate lab mix, about 73 pounds or so, looking for a forever home. This little fella is named Tex. He was turned in by his owner, and Tex is a Pomeranian, and if you're familiar with Pomeranians, you can tell that Tex is overweight. He's almost 25 pounds. Poms typically, and a Pom his size would do much better at maybe 16 pounds or so. So again, that would be a conversation between you and your veterinarian if you were to adopt Tex. You want to make sure, one of the best ways to manage your pet's weight, whether it's a dog, a cat, guinea pig, is to measure their food. And talk to your veterinarian. Measuring their food, a lot of times you at least know how much you're feeding them. So if you need to reduce that amount, you know how much to reduce it by. Again, talk to your veterinarian. And some foods are better than others. Some have a little more calorie content, some have higher fat content. The same things that go into people nutrition oftentimes go into pet nutrition. So it is a consideration, and measuring portions is just as important for pets as it is for people, and certainly a toy breed like a Pom. Tex is about 6 years old, 6 years. He was turned in with a cat who is also available for adoption on our cat adoption floor. And the reason that both Tex and Prissy were turned in, the owner just felt that she was too old to take care of these guys any longer. Had Tex since he was a puppy, had Prissy for quite a few years, so, and that was the main reason. So I'm not aware of all the specifics, but we are an open admission shelter, the only shelter in Frederick County, so we should be a last resort. And for situations like Tex and Prissy, that's how they ended up here. But Tex is available. He will need professional grooming, preferably somebody with Pomeranian experience, so that you can keep him looking gorgeous and keeping him as well socialized as he already is. So normal for this time of year, we have many more cats and kittens in our shelter than we do other animals. And Bear is the last guy we're going to look at before our break. He's about 1 year old, and he's a domestic medium hair. And he was turned in by an owner that had had him since he was 8 weeks old, however, could not afford to take care of him. Cats and kittens, you know, even when they're younger, they need a vet visit at least by the time they're 8 weeks old. Get them to a vet, make sure that they have their initial vaccines on board, make sure that the veterinarian checks them out for intestinal parasites. A lot of times kittens are so cute, but they tend to like to lick and you know, just travel around the house, sometimes on countertops. And if you have small children, that can become an issue if your cat's got any intestinal parasites, as some are transmissible to people. But Bear was turned in, I guess he was exhibiting poor behavior around the house. He was spraying, and that is not unusual. If you have an intact male cat, that is how they mark territory. So the one way to resolve that issue is to get them neutered prior to being a year of age, when they start establishing that bad behavior. If you cannot afford to have that done, there's plenty of programs available in the county that we can provide information about to get your animals spayed or neutered at low cost. And sometimes those programs are free. It just depends on your situation, your circumstances, and the criteria for each program. So definitely you want to make sure that you ask. Use this as a resource. Call us, show up at the shelter when we're open to the public for more information on low-cost spaying and neutering. But Bear is here now. He's got a great temperament, great personality. He is about 8 pounds, and we do have him color-coded green. He's a little bit shy on the adoption floor, but as you can see, he kind of warms up quickly and is very social. He's been around infants, he's been around other people of all ages, and now he's here at the shelter as one of our younger cats that's available for adoption. We're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at 5 more of our felines that are looking for forever homes at the Frederick County Division of Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center.
Seniors stay active and engaged in the community while making new friends by participating in events at Frederick County Senior Centers. Each of the 4 centers provide a variety of educational, health, fitness, and recreational activities, as well as resources to help area seniors maintain their wellness and independence. Nutritious congregate meals are offered daily for contributions of up to $5, and limited transportation services are provided for seniors 60 and older. Advanced registration is required for both of these services. Contact your local senior center for specific information about the programs and services offered in your area.
Unable to attend a county meeting? No problem. Watch live and archived broadcasts online. Just visit frederickcountymd.gov/FCG-TV and then click the live stream or video archives link.
Enjoy an afternoon with your furry four-legged friend at Parks and Recreation's annual Bark in the Park event. Your pooch will have an opportunity to run free in one of our off-leash areas, test and sharpen their skills on the agility course, and participate in doggy contests. Bark in the Park also provides great opportunities for families to adopt a dog, learn different training techniques, and sample dog-related products. With live demonstrations throughout the day, the event is sure to be a doggone good time. Pre-registration is encouraged, so visit recreator.com for more information.
Welcome back to Pet Pals. Now we're going to take a look at 5 of our felines that are looking for forever homes through adopted families. First up is April. April is about 3 to 4 years old. She came to us as a stray from the Highland School Road area in Myersville. So if you are missing a cat from any part of the county, whether it's Frederick City, whether it's Thurmont, Emmetsburg, Myersville, you want to make sure that you check our shelter website. We post our strays online when they come in. You want to make sure that you also visit the shelter, because your description of your cat may be different than what we've got. But April is about 3 to 4 years old. She is already spayed. She is your basic domestic short hair, weighs about 7.5 pounds, and we have her color coded as orange. She's very comfortable with people. Not necessarily a lap cat. I think some of that is just given her age and her personality, but definitely, as you can see, very handleable, very friendly. We have gone ahead and tested her for feline leukemia and feline immunodeficiency virus, as we do with all of our cats prior to placing them on the adoption floor, and she's negative for both of those things. We brought her up to speed on vaccines, including a rabies vaccine, so she would make for a relatively quick adoption. One thing that you might notice about April is her left ear has a part missing. That's called ear tipping, and people will do that, especially if they've got farmland, barn locations, if they have a larger population of outdoor cats, and the ear tipping indicates that the animal's been spayed or neutered and that they have received at least one rabies vaccine. With rabies vaccines, they need to be boosted, so one rabies vaccine does not cover an animal for life. So you want to make sure that you talk to your vet about that, which is why we revaccinated April when she came to our shelter. What we're noticing more recently, once upon a time, ear-tipped cats were considered community or free-roaming cats, and what we're noticing now is that owners are now doing that to indicate, again, that the animal has been at least rabies vaccinated once and that they're spayed or neutered. However, they belong to someone. So prior to leaving here, April will be microchipped, so in the event she gets away from her new owner, we would be able to return her quickly if she ends up at the shelter again. This little girl came to us. Her name is Black Olive. She's about 3 years old, your basic domestic short hair black cat, and she's about 8.5 pounds. She was turned in by her owner, claiming that she wasn't using the litter box. And again, to credit our facility for evaluating each and every animal as an individual, we assess that behavior here. And in looking at her profile, she came from a family, looks like there were 4 children in the family. There were other cats, plural. There are other dogs, plural, and there's a rabbit. So a lot of times when you've got a family that's very busy, that's highly populated with lots of animals, cats sometimes will get neglected. The litter boxes just aren't changed as frequently, or there aren't as many litter boxes as there should be. What our recommendation is, what most professionals' recommendation is, if you have 2 cats, you want to have 3 litter boxes. You want to have 1 more litter box than the number of cats in your family. And if you've got dogs and cats in your family, then you have another situation where you might have to manage keeping the dogs away from the litter boxes. You want to make sure that the cats don't get ambushed when they're using the litter box. So there's some strategy play in there that we can certainly offer information about. But Black Olive is here now. We did observe her here. She is using the litter box for us on a consistent basis. We also, it looks like we ran a urinalysis just to make sure that there wasn't any underlying reason for her not using the litter box, and she's in good health as far as that goes. So she's here with us now. We've made her available for adoption. Whenever you adopt an animal from Frederick County Division of Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center, we disclose everything that we know about that animal, including why they came to us, what we've done to observe that behavior in the case here, litter box issues, and then any tips or tricks that we can offer to make sure that she continues using her litter box in your family. So if you're looking for your basic domestic short hair, Black Olive would be a great choice for your family. This little girl is named Apple. We had an impound situation a few weeks ago that you might be familiar with, and you've seen several cats from that situation. There were over 40 cats in one home, and Apple was the first cat that we took in from that situation. She's a little over 8 pounds. She's about 2 to 3 years old. She's a gorgeous tortoiseshell and white. And what we've noticed consistently with the cats from that situation, they all seem to be a little bit shy and a little bit overwhelmed at the shelter. So what we've done for them is we are housing them in our kitty cabana area. So they are with familiar faces from that home. And we also, it's a little more quiet than our regular adoption areas. And we are also have them categorized as kennel technician only because they are very shy. They're not your typical cats that you can walk up to and socialize with and pet. They require a little slower movement, a little softer voice to get to know them first prior to socializing. But we consider them adoptable in the right homes. You should really have some cat experience or at least a lot of patience, because it might take these guys a little bit of time to get used to a home environment where they're comfortable and feel safe. But Apple is, I think she's beautiful. She is, again, just a little over 8 pounds. She's been tested negative for feline leukemia and FIV. We have already spayed her. We've provided her a rabies vaccine and a microchip, so she would make for a relatively quick adoption. And again, she's come from a situation where she was with 40 other cats, so it's a little bit overwhelming and maybe not routine for her just to be alone in the world. So if you're looking for a special case, I would consider adopting Apple. This kitty is named Brandy. She's about 2 years old, and Brandy came to us pregnant, and we sent her into foster care. She delivered 3 beautiful kittens that are now old enough to be adopted. They're on our adoption floor with applications. But as typical, and what we see a lot, is that the mama cats are the ones that spend sometimes weeks here at the shelter long after their kittens have gotten adopted. So we make an extra effort to showcase them as well and bring up their good points. Brandy is absolutely stunningly beautiful. She's got that medium hair coat. She is friendly. She's social. She was turned in originally by her owner for having litter box issues, and then sometimes people are a little more forthcoming than others. Apparently the spouse in the family just hated cats, so she's better off with us if that's the situation. But she was placed in foster care, and according to her foster care mom, she has been using the litter box reliably. She is, I guess she likes feather toys. She is missing a little bit of fur on her back end. She arrived with that, so we're not sure what that's about. Sometimes if animals have flea allergy or something early on, the fur may not grow back, but she is just a lovely cat. She's certainly comfortable on Randy's lap. We've gone ahead and tested her twice now because she's been in our possession since the end of December. So she's been here quite a long time. Tested her for feline leukemia and FIV, and both of those have maintained their negative status. She again is about a little over 8.5 pounds, current on all vaccines, including a rabies vaccine, and just a good overall demeanor. She's a little bit shy initially, so again, with any cat, and if you're not familiar with cats, ask us questions, and certainly it's well worth to be educated. A lot of cats just prefer to come to you on their terms. It's not that they're arrogant, it's not that they're aloof, it's just their species they're very small, consider that. So you want to make sure that you give them some time to acclimate to your home properly, and we can certainly help you out with that. And Brandy has the advantage of having been in a foster home, so that foster care provider can provide you any information that you need to know about Brandy. The last cat we're going to take a look at is Carter. Carter's about 1 to 2 years old. He's a little over 11 pounds. Came to us previously owned, and we don't have a profile. So sometimes when owners are relinquishing pets, they're a little more reluctant to provide us any information. Carter is your basic domestic short hair. We've brought him up to speed on vaccines. We do have him categorized as kennel technician only. Again, 1 to 2 years old. He is a little more reactive than most cats, but he's doing really well with Randy. So we're going to just recommend, due to his size, due to his personality, that you have cat experience prior to adopting Carter, and that you just give some understanding to the fact that not all cats are lap cats, and even though they're small species, not all of them appreciate being held. But nonetheless, we consider him adoptable. He is beautiful. He is social, and he's doing well on our adoption floor. So if you're looking for a cat that's a little bit younger, with a little bit of a catitude, Carter would be a good choice for you. And that wraps it up for this week's Pet Pals. We always appreciate you watching the show. If you are interested in any of these guys for adoption, please stop by the shelter. If you have family or friends that are looking to adopt a shelter pet, have them stop by as well. Have a great week, and we will see you next time on Pet Pals.
Each year, the Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center serves thousands of animals in the community while working toward its mission, work that wouldn't be possible without the help of the many dedicated volunteers who donate their time to the division.
We utilize volunteers for foster care, working at the front desk, helping with events, in our in-house spay-neuter clinic. So volunteers come in and they have the ability to help with all aspects of shelter operations, but in the beginning, all start out at the same point. So the different programs specifically for volunteers typically in-house involves them socializing with animals. We at times have animals that live here over 100 days. So it's important that people come in and take dogs out for walks and play with them. It's important that cats have time maybe outside of their cage a little bit, but then also people are spending time petting them.
In addition to caring for animals, volunteers assist staff with customer service and cleaning duties. As they become more involved with the shelter, volunteers can take on different and more specialized roles.
These avenues may lead them to being a spay-neuter technician in our surgery room. It may mean that they help at our front desk with the administrative folks. I have individuals that go to events with me. So we go out into the public and try and raise awareness about what the shelter does and then what our goal and mission is in the community.
Frederick County Animal Control can never have too many volunteers. So if you're interested in taking the next step, here's what you need to know.
We basically ask that you be at least 10 years of age. So anyone who's 10 or older can volunteer with us. If you're between 10 years and 14 years of age, you do have to come with a parent or guardian who is also considered a trained volunteer. At 15, you can volunteer independently. So what we ask of volunteers is that you're able to participate in the program for at least 4 hours a month, and you visit us twice a month. So you can volunteer more than that, but that is the minimum for you to stay an active volunteer. People can sign up by volunteering several ways. Our in-house volunteers, they can come in, fill out an application, they'll be offered an orientation time, which orientation is the first step. That's non-committal. It's just an informational session of how the program works. Our website has my email address and a specific volunteer page that people can reach out that way.
For more information on how you can become involved in the Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center, visit frederickcountymd.gov/FCAC and click on the volunteer link, or contact Sean Snyder by email at ssnyder@frederickcountymd.gov or by phone at 301-600-1546.